the WB Du Bois Learning Center. Got Baba G, he on the ones and twos. And what we got, the smooth jazz maestro, what is it? The super jock, the 25 name brother over here. We do. Say it one more time. Professor Smooth Jazz. When did your show come on, my man?
It comes on Thursdays.
Thursdays. What time we got?
Well, I come in four times, just in case you miss it. 5 to 6.
Okay.
And then 9 to 10. And then for you early morning people, 12 to 1 and 2 to 3.
Okay. You hear that smooth jazz right there in that voice. Professor Smooth Jazz. That's what's up. So, yeah, big up to my guy here. Just meeting for the first time. Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. But you know who we are, Shifting Paradigms. We're all about stimulating critical thought in order to realistically redefine our narrative and positively reshape our reality through dialogue with that good Kuji Chagalia, that self-determination. Yes, indeed. I got my guy coming back, Ryan Harvey. We had a postponement with my brother Dorian Giles. He did not make it today, unfortunately. Ryan is en route again. And so when he gets here, boom, bow, bam, we're going to go ahead and keep it moving with him, part to it. You know what I mean? We're going to impart to it. And so before we get here, you know, a lot of stuff going on as well. We recently had the presidential debate. You know, a lot of people like, man, the lesser two evils, you know. And what can you say? You know, I think one thing, and we talked about this just last week about representative democracy and how, you know, it's a disempowering method of governance. And we have to understand the power, I would say, of grassroots, really, of grassroots organizing. And I had my brother, Indigenous Zai, here not too long ago, and the power of the grassroots and the collective, and how we have the responsibility to really look even beyond the vote for political engagement. The vote is, and I'm not saying it's not important, you know what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is it's not everything. It's not what our ancestors truly died for. A lot of people say, our ancestors died to vote. No, they died for equity, right? They died to be, you know, validated in their existence as human beings, right? The vote was important, and yes, they suppressed the vote. Historically, you look at what the Ku Klux Klan did. You look at what, you know, the incumbents at that time did in order to take away the power, because they understood that the engagement in the process is what the power is. And when the people's voice is truly articulated, you know, that's where the challenge to the status quo and the hegemony, you know, becomes an issue. And so, you know, really understanding what a constitutional republic is about, because America is not a democracy. You know, when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, if you choose to say it, you don't say I pledge allegiance, you know, to the flag of the United States of America, to the democracy for which it stands. No, you say to the republic for which it stands. But I say that to say this, right? Looking at the incumbent president, and then we had, you know, the previous president before him, Donald Trump, you know, and it's always been this case, the lesser of two evils, you hear that. But what's so unfortunate, I'm going to look this up real quick. A lot of people don't even know that there are, in the United States, registered 420 political parties. In the United States, there's 420 registered parties in the United States. And so of those, we're only given, right, the bipartisan perspective of the Dixiecrats, which are the Democrats, and the Republicans. And it's so interesting to see how this table has flipped. Prior to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the Republicans were actually the ones who African Americans sided with. Look at the history of this. But Eleanor and Franklin said, you know what, we're going to petition and schmooze the African American community and make them more democratic. When the Democrats were the ones who were the agriculturalists, they were the plantation owners, and you look at the history of that. The Dixiecrats, the Southern representatives, were the ones who were more promoting of chattel enslavement. Whereas the Republicans were the industrialists, and they were the ones who were looking to go about abolition, right? And the absolving of chattel enslavement. But here it is today, the political acumen and the political astuteness of us as a people, we have to really get into some political education, and that's why, again, I'll refer back to my brother Indigenous Eye, the general of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party here in Kansas City, and the work that they're doing to politically educate our people is so important. Even when you go back into the 60s and early 70s and you look at what the work of the party did then to educate the people so that your rights, right? The maxim of law is that if you don't know your rights, you have no rights, right? And so you want to make sure that you know your rights constitutionally and that you're able to stand as a sovereign, as a free man on the land, through the exercise of your rights. There's a lot of things that, you have to understand. And so with the political climate today and I called it a pony show in a conversation I had with a colleague at work today, it's just so interesting when you consider the dynamics of that. And so that's just, one of the elements that's going on. We have to make sure that our children are protected. There's a lot of children coming up missing. That's another issue that is major that we have to make sure that we are aware of and engaged in, and that we're keeping our children safe. Because this pandemic of trafficking, be it labor or sex trafficking, is spreading. It's rampant. We have a lot of people that are, having their children missing, and so we have to make sure that we're, aware of our children and protecting our children by all means in light of what is going on today. That's a very important aspect of our existence, the future. We got to make sure that we're able to preserve that. So that's another important aspect. And so, I have some articles that I've been posting today, not only today, but also throughout the week and throughout this past month with What's Up Kansas City. My most recent article is dealing with the idea of our crisis of identity. And I'm just kind of filling the air again so that my brother can get here so we can go ahead and build part 2. But our crisis of identity is what I propose as is the major impediment to our condition. It's the major missing ingredient to our condition and not really having a true sense of identity as an African people from a continent with over 55 African countries with who knows how many tribal, affiliations and identities. But for me, the more that we can affiliate ourselves with our ancestral, our cultural, and our historical consciousness, we're able to galvanize ourselves and come to a place where our existence, I'm going to use that word again, is at a much more qualitative state. When you think about ancestral consciousness, you think about the heirlooms, the ethical wills, you even think about the inheritances that are left to the descendants of our ancestors, to us, the wisdom. And so these inheritances have been intentionally interrupted. And so that has caused for us, a setback, a major setback. And it's hard to recover from these setbacks, especially when you're dealing with the people who have a connection to their ancestry that goes back, centuries. Centuries. They can trace this stuff for centuries. And not only can they trace it, they can access the resources that have been passed down for centuries. And so people without that are at a huge deficit. Not to mention cultural consciousness. Cultural consciousness is huge as well, because that's the lens through which we're able to filter all things to really perceive reality. Culture is a lens through which we can filter things to perceive reality. Our perception is sharpened through our culture. And of course, you hear a lot of people say, do it for the culture, do it for the culture. But our culture in America is entirely manufactured. We have a manufactured culture in America that is predicated on building America for who has been historically our oppressor. And I will even say our enemy. And so as a result of that, we have to make sure that we're knowing our cultural expression and our cultural identity and our cultural consciousness, right? Because the hegemony, I had a conversation with my wife today. We have come as a people to dislike and even hate ourselves because we have that void. We have that gap. In the article, I speak of what the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, may his memory be blessed, left in terms of knowledge-wise, in that a people without their ancestral, cultural, and historical consciousness are like trees without roots. And we know what happens to trees when their roots are not in the earth, right? They fall over and they die. And so we can see the result of that in our community today, where we are struggling to preserve our life and to also pass it on to that next generation, which is so important, that continuity. And so these are things that we have to actually get back to and restore. And so we see the results of that when we don't have ancestral culture and historical consciousness. We become aberrations, we become apparitions, we become ghosts, and we become defined by everything other than the self-determined reality that is supposed to be created with us. And as the door opens, my brother Ryan Harvey, Dr. Ryan Harvey, makes his grand entrance. Peace and power, my brother. Welcome again. We are here. I was just talking about culture, man, ancestry, history, the importance of connecting and gravitating to that as a people, and how we've been at a crisis because of that, man. I know that you've been doing a lot of work with the youth. I've been seeing you also in the Lansing Correctional Facility.
Yes, sir.
And dealing with people who may have some deficits, and dealing with people who may have some major obstacles in front of them. Our youth have major obstacles.
Absolutely.
They're targets as well.
Absolutely.
So in seeking to mitigate, intervene on behalf of the individuals who have those challenges facing them, what has been your experience, one, and then what have you proposed to be a remedy to some of the issues that the youth and our brothers and sisters behind bars are facing? Welcome, by the way, again.
Welcome, my brother. I appreciate you having me. These are things that are genuinely the highlight of my week, because my weeks be busy, all right? And so to be able to communicate, break bread with somebody I respect and value, dog, it's a delight, all right? Because I don't really talk to too many people. It's a super tight circle, so I don't really be rapping too much. But I know in my own experience, the thing that has been so beneficial for me has been mentorship. I think that all young men, even men in general, I'm almost 40, and I have a mentor that's 60, 63, Dr. Lawrence McNair. You know what I'm saying? It's very important. I know I wouldn't have kind of killed a lot of that learning curve for myself, because I came from a place of like bumping my head a lot. Again, my dad died when I was young, when I was 5. My grandfather died a little bit after that, and then an older brother of mine died after that. And of course, me and my brother, my older brother that we lived in separate households, so we didn't communicate in that fashion when we were young. Yeah, we didn't communicate in that fashion. So I think it is super imperative, man, that all men have some type of mentorship at some point. I don't care at what age, what you got going on. If you're really trying to become a better man, you need a man to hold you accountable. And I'm not talking to be nice to you, to coddle you. I'm talking to really hold you to the fire when you want to let your hand go. When you say, no, I don't want to feel that. You got somebody that is stronger than you putting your hand in the fire and saying, no, I need you to feel that. Right. I need you to stop doing this.
Wow.
This is not helping you.
Wow.
This is not serving you. I need you to feel this heat. I need you to see what happens to your hand after you take it from the fire. I need it to sit with you for a while. Right. I can't have you escape that. So I think a lot of men are where they are because of not being put in the fire. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's absolutely necessary, and I can't expect it be naive of me or foolish of me to think that people will be eager to go in the fire. I can't expect that. Yeah. I wouldn't wish the things that I had to voluntarily go through. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Right.
To become this, I wouldn't wish it on anybody because you really have to face some things within yourself that you're like, no, I don't want to see. I don't want to look at that. I'm cool. I'm good. And having a mentor say, no, you say you want to become something, I need you to look at that.
Yes.
I need you to. No, we can't get to the good stuff. We can't talk about the beautiful stuff. We can't talk about what you want to be. At what point are you going to go to have, again, like I was saying in the conference, at what point are you going to take the adventure to the parts of you that you chose to neglect? That is the adventure. There is no Thailand, Bali. I don't care what exotic place you go to. It will not.
Right.
It will not even comprehend or be able to hold the same space as the adventure that you take in finding out who you are. It's not possible, bro.
Right.
If everything derives from us, it's not possible for you to get something better than the adventure that would happen on the inside. So I think if more men were willing to take mentorship, because that's what that is. Mentorship is taking the adventure towards something that you've chosen to neglect. If you are really trying to be better, that's where it starts. Everything is steps to that. And so I think the first thing is getting into a place where you humble yourself and realize that you don't know everything and that you need instruction. And once that happens, then we off to the races. Then life can start coming in and showing you, hey, we've been really trying to show you love all the time. It was just you and the way you looked at it that messed up your perception and being able to face it.
Wow.
But without a mentor, it's hard for you to see those opportunities or see those situations that happen that make us frustrated as opportunities for us to grow.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's powerful, man. Mentorship is huge.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned the conference, and I know a part of the curriculum that you came up with for the strongest man in the room and the presentation you provided, you laid out some principles.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Did you derive those from mentoring, from being mentored as well? And I bring that up because I want you to somewhat talk about those principles, right? Okay. And talk about how you implement those into your work, right? Wow. And then how you have seen the results, the effects.
I love this question.
Of individuals who actually resonate with those principles.
All right. Again, these 8 principles came from me and my mentor, and us going through the process of what I've learned to this point. Yeah. Because I hold my mentor's relationship, I hold his above everybody's next to God. Right? Like me and his relationship, everybody else benefits off the relationship I have with him.
That's rich.
All right? So I hold him at a place. Yes, I honor him at a high place. Yeah. So it's like having thanks to God. You know what I'm saying? If I have a epiphany, I'm thanking God for that epiphany.
Right.
If I'm in a position of having growth, I'm thanking the man that God placed before me, right? It's giving that honor, you know? And so we began this process years ago, man, and I have 8 principles that I put into my life, and I use these things, whether it's good, bad, different, ugly, and I'm going through some tough stuff right now that I actively have to use being adventurous. I actively have to use being poised. I actively have to use being an achiever, right? When we think of being an achiever, sometimes we think of being successful, having money. What I like to think about is the opportunity to do the things that I truly love to do, and then being embraced and asked to do them even more. That's when I know I'm achieving. When I know that I'm, for instance, I used to have I'm gonna be super vulnerable because that's the only way it works.
That's how you overcome it, bro.
Yeah, that's the only way. That's the only way it works. All right. So I remember when I was facing eviction, right, and I needed $2,500 in 4 days. All right, and I tell my mentor, and I'm panicking, like, yo, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm about to get evicted. I'm a single father. I don't know where I'm gonna go. Like, there's all this stuff going on, and I'm at this point, I'm tied into my dream. I'm totally plugged in. Like, God, if this is what we gonna do, sure, this is what we gonna do. But I'm down to ride it out. Right. And when I talk to him about it, he's like, "You'll be all right." Instantly, I'm pissed. Like, yo, how you gonna tell me I'm gonna be cool?
Right.
Did you hear what I just told you? Like, yo, I just said I owe $2,500. They're gonna kick me out. 4 days, and I'm a single father. Yo, what are you talking about? I'm gonna be all right. He said, yo, you're gonna be all right if you remain positive and you do what we learned. You'll be all right.
Wow.
4 days. I had more than I needed. All right? More. All right? Now check this out. Now I had a situation that happened a month ago. All right? Where I had made some sacrifices, doubled down on some things that I told God I wanted to do. And when some things started to happen, I was still playing catch up. We gonna evict you. Oh, I thought I was past this. Look at the paper. $4,500. Brother, this time, I'm like this. I'm gonna be alright. I'm cool, right?
Right.
And I had more than I needed.
Wow.
Right? And for so long, I used to make things so physical and not spiritual, right? And understanding that I have real power, but if I am not poised, I am going to misuse the energy that I actually have covenant over. Because the energy we got is a covenant. It's a sacred covenant, right?
Yeah.
And so if we choose to think negative, that is a disrespect to the covenant, right? So it's an opportunity for us to, like, I be looking at, and sometimes it's, I don't want people to do this, but I do it to challenge myself. I'll take real negative situations and forcefully be positive about it and be excited, like, ooh, this is an opportunity for me to prove how positive I am, how much energy I can possess to attract something, and never let the circumstance to dictate how I see it, right? And when I do that, I have no room but to be poised. And with poise, I can make the right action. I can make the right choice, see the right opportunity. But if I'm, oh my God, what am I doing?
Panicking. Right.
I might do the wrong thing just because it looked like the right thing.
Right.
Right?
It's right here.
The wrong thing is usually always right here.
Yeah.
And the choice, And the right thing is usually
a little
down
bit
the
down.
road.
Right, a little bit down the
Right?
street.
Where it takes effort.
Yeah.
Where it look like, man,
Wow.
if I go all the way down the street, I don't have that much time. And by the time I get there, I only have a second left. And God was like, ain't that what I told you I already need?
Right.
I told you I'll show up in a second. But if you think it's here,
Right.
that's not the second I'm talking about. It needs some dedication, and I need you to believe into the final second. And guess when it happened?
The final
second.
Right.
The brother.
Time is running out.
And if you let time, because God said He gonna be there in a minute.
Right on time though.
But we make it 60 seconds.
Mm.
He say, I got you in a minute. You know, just like when somebody say they pulling up to the house, I'll be there in a minute.
Right.
But they never tell you a time.
Right.
But they gonna be there. Right?
Right.
God is like, no, I'll be there in a minute.
Ooh-wee.
But we stress like, God, you see what I'm going through?
Right.
Well, the same thing I went through with my mentor. God, you see what I'm going through? He's like, you'll be all right.
Right.
Just chill.
Hold on.
Now, if you panic and allow your emotions, your thoughts
That's it.
to misdirect you,
That's it. Emotions.
then you're not close to me no more. You're away from me based on your thoughts, right? I need you to remember the covenant and remain poised, because even when it doesn't look like it's working in your favor, I promise you, we know it's working in our favor. So if I continuously practice that in my mind, there's no choice but for me to be poised regardless. I could panic, I could, but it don't do me any good, right? And so another one of my keys I talked about last year was being a concrete finisher, all right? And so being a concrete finisher is the most important job, all right? After the labor is done, concrete finishers is what make your driveway look like the driveway, right? They put the broom marks in it. They got the nice sides on it. They got everything looking nice. That's who get your money out to you, right? But before you get to being a finisher, you have to be a laborer, right? Before you're a laborer, you have to be a gopher. The gopher is the person
Get everything.
Hey, I need this.
Go for this.
Go for that. Go for this. Go for that. That's who you are.
Right.
Because before you get introduced or have to use it, you got to know what it is. You got to know the name of it, right? You got to set the foundation of it first. The importance of each and every tool you're going to use, right? And after you learn the tool, after you realize, go get this, where they can say it by name and they don't have to tell you no more, you could just come back with it. And then you get so good that you'll know the next thing they need and bring that too, right? That's it.
That's that nature.
Come on.
Yeah.
Always learning, paying attention,
Yeah.
right? Then after that, you can get to a point where you're laboring, where you're starting to use your body. You know what I mean? Where you starting to put it together, where you start to understand, his job is connected to his job, and the way that I do my job makes it easier for the next job and the next job and the next job. And so when the finisher comes, man, he got to be willing to go super hard, because everything is predicated on the finisher. Everything. Now the laboring can be cool, everything can be cool, but if the finisher is bad,
The work that's just got shot.
It's done. Nobody getting paid, and we owe, right?
Wow.
But the important thing about the finisher is the concrete is gonna get hard. You on a timer, right? So that means you have to stay focused and stay on it, and don't let up. And even when it get hard, you get harder, right? When concrete get hard, and there's some time where you gotta really rub
Put
on
it in
it,
there. Yeah.
really rub on it. It's hot. The sun is beaming on you still. Hands is cramping, you still, because there's a job that you have to finish.
Yeah.
You have to finish. Ain't no letting up, ain't no getting off of it. If you want to get paid, you have to be a finisher. Just like if you shoot a jumper and want to play in the league, you got to have a follow through, right? And so it's very important that you know how to finish. Finish what you start. Learn the whole process. Don't just get excited about the part that looks sweet, that looks like they're making all the dollars, not understanding what it actually takes to get up to that point. Because there's a graduation level to everything, right? And so even understanding that, when I had a mentor that taught me concrete, when I worked with him, I would say the first maybe 4 or 5 years, I would tell him, yo, if we working all day, don't pay me 8, 9, 10 hours, pay me 4. When he would, after he would get through paying everybody, he'd be like, dang, I only got $20. I'd be like, bro, here, 100. I said, because what you teaching me,
priceless.
I'll be able to eat from for the rest of my life.
Right.
That was years ago. And I'm able now to do my own thing, go being my own work, all that. I would sit at this man's house and treat his family more like my family than my own because he had something that I needed that I know my family would benefit from. Right? And so I had to be a finisher in that standpoint of seeing that thing all the way through. And it took me 10 years to learn.
Yeah.
But now I can do concrete anywhere. If things ever got bad,
Right.
I can go do some stuff by myself with my hands right now. You know what I'm saying? Another one is being a warrior.
Rewarded?
A warrior.
A warrior.
A warrior.
Yes.
A warrior, if you think about movies or anything like that, there's always this guy that is focused on a task. And regardless of the obstacle, regardless of the situation, my man does not lose focus of the task.
It's vital.
And if he's not within the task, he's in preparation for the task. Constant. He's not. Even if my man is not in battle, he's sharpening his sword for the battle to come. He's still staying ready. He's waking up in the morning, still using his sword. You know what I mean? Still keeping his body agile, doing everything that's necessary because he believes not only that a war is coming or a battle is coming, but that he needs to be ready for it. Right? And so even in the sense of us not having to have swords, guns, and all that, there's still a war. There's a mental war going on. And if you're not sharpening your mental sword, when life be lifing, who do you think gonna win? And so if you're not within a battle, you're soon to be. It's either or.
You're coming out and going in. There you go.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And so if you are not in a position of trying to be a warrior and understand that, what are you really trying to win? What war are you really trying to win?
Right.
And I'm trying to make it to heaven.
Yes, sir.
You feel me? That's the war I'm trying to win. I might lose a battle here and there, but the war,
I'm
trying to win. You feel me? And that doesn't happen unless we are always intentionally trying to sharpen our mind. And that's when you see the things that the systems have put in place to distract us, not so much African people, but us.
Right.
We are the most influential
globally
on this planet, and to force feed us the culture that they have us watching only lets me know how powerful I am. Because if they actually let us know how powerful we could be, everybody else will follow.
They do anyway.
And they would have no choice, right? So they say, yo, let's not worry about these millions and millions of people. Let's just subject them to the most evil, vile, fornicating things that we could offer. So then in hopes, they sexualize everybody else.
Yep.
They make everybody else not want to do, find, believe, have, see, embrace, love, sacrifice, determine. We don't want to talk about none of that. So it's absolutely imperative that those kind of things happen. And so I use these things in my life all the time.
That's powerful, brother. That's powerful. And, you talk about this war. I'm of the mind that the most valuable or the most precious and most critical war that we face is the one with ourselves.
That's the only war that matters.
Yeah, and that's the one that we got to get these youth and the brothers, behind the walls to really understand, because environment is important. I'm not saying it is not important, but what you do in your environment is what matters.
Absolutely.
Right? And how you cultivate your weapon. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
How you equip and arm your weapon in order to know how to be offensive and defensive in that war.
Yes, sir.
So that's important, man. I appreciate that insight. I do. And I want to come back to this mentoring, because I think this is a very important point to hinge on.
Huge.
Because, again, when we're dealing with transitioning from youth to adult, that's something that is in our community greatly lacking. That mentor, that positive image and mentor that's there to pull us up and be like, this is what an adult does. This is what a man, this is what a woman does. This is who a man is, this is who a woman is, right? How did you go about acquiring access to your mentor? And what have you found to be viable for you? Because I think everybody's pursuit,
It's
need
different.
for a mentor is different.
Absolutely.
But what have you found for yourself to be a viable process to go about, having a mentor in your life?
First and foremost, I had to be real with myself and knew I wasn't going to become what I wanted to without it. I had to be real with myself. That kind of conversation, I had to prepare myself because having a mentor isn't sweet. It's not nice. It's not fun. It's not any of that. It's going to be something you don't want to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to put you in places that you going to feel uncomfortable with.
Right.
But it's absolutely necessary. But one mentor I seen at a housing auction. I was learning about houses and stuff like this, and he said, "Yo, if you want to find people that buy houses, go to auctions." So I seen this white dude betting on houses and this, that, and the third. And another guy won the bet at like $45,000. So that told me the other guy had $40,000. I have 0 houses. Walk up to dude. I'm like, "Yeah, I got some houses I would really love for you to check out." He look at me. He like, "You ain't got no houses. Why don't you come past my house?" I was like, "Hold on, before you go, hold on. Let me try this again." I said, "Yo, only got $60 in my pocket. I want to take you out to eat. I got questions.
Right.
I want to eat on your answers. Whatever you want to eat that. But while you eating, that's all the time you got.
Right.
That's when I want to ask you questions." He said, "Now that's how you get my attention."
Wow.
That was my first mentor. Another mentor, you know how you go drive past houses and you say, "Bingo, I want a house like that." I would take it a step further. I would drive into the driveway because I wanted to see how it felt like pulling into. So it was one day a guy was coming out, getting his newspaper, see me pulling in. He was like, "Man, what the hell are you doing?" I was like, "Yo, I just want to see what I want my life to look like. I see your house. Like, yo, I'm visualizing right now." He's like, "Yo, I ain't never heard that before. Hey, what are you trying to do?" Another mentor, Dr. Lawrence McNair, my mentor of all mentors, the guy that's been down with me for 10 years. I got him from just being myself. I did not meet him for 7 years. He mentored me for 7 years without us meeting physically. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, bro. But because of the work that I was already doing on myself, he showed up. And so there's a quote that says, "When a student is ready, the teacher will appear." And it was literally like that. Now, I might have, in my naive place, I might have been yelling and trying to, "I know what I'm talking about." But he was like, "Yo, you ain't got to do that. Let me show you what you're missing out on. I see what you're missing," right? Like, it'd be different. What he told me was this. He was like, "Ryan, you know when your car break down on the side of the road, you run out of gas, you got 2 options. You just sit in the car." And I would have drove by you. Maybe not even seeing you in the car or thinking you having somebody pull up.
Right.
But what I seen was you pushing your car. And I said, "Dang, he needs some gas. I know how it feels to need some gas."
Right.
So what you think gonna happen if I've experienced the same thing you had before? I'm gonna help you push your car.
You right there.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I was a person that caught the right person when I was supposed to be pushing my car. And that's how I got my mentor. So it wasn't necessarily me finding him.
Yeah.
It was more me finding myself that attracted him.
Right.
This thing is about attraction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't make the right person be
Right.
that if your energy ain't right. There's nothing you can do. But if you are working on yourself, you won't have to try nearly as hard. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I have found out is that the more work you do on yourself, the more you simplify your energy being able to attract the things that best serve you. But if we spend a lot of time not tapped into ourselves, we've attracted with the same energy all type of different other things. Oh, I want to meet a female that got this. I want to meet a female that do that. I want to meet a female that does this. I want to go here. I want to do that. I want to taste this.
Right.
Never anything about I want to find myself. I want to become more patient. I want to be more adventurous. I want to have more courage. I want to face my fears. Like actually,
Right.
And once we do that and find out what we are, the things that we actually want to do, the things that we actually love,
Right.
will show themselves to us instead of us just trying things just to see
Mm-hmm.
what's for us.
Yeah.
That's
That's powerful.
Yeah,
That's rich, bro.
yes, sir.
That's rich. I want to talk about your experience as a transformational speaker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What led you to that initially? And then in that, what have you found to be your most, like, your most impactful experience? You know, what audience have you experienced that has resonated most with you? Just say maybe top 2 or 3, you know what I'm saying? But what led you into it, and then what has been your most impactful experience in your field of work?
All right. Me and my mentor again. Again, everything that I talk about, of course, is God given, but after that, it's instruction from my mentor. And so, we had a conversation about what it means to be a speaker and then being a motivational speaker. You know what I'm saying? He's like, well, tell me, why would you want to be a motivational speaker?
Right.
I was like, well, I want to motivate people. He's like, yeah, but motivation is fake. It's only there if you there.
Wow.
How are they motivated if you ain't?
Right.
What are you going to motivate them to do if motivation is fake? All right. Then he was like, well, I was like, well, that's a good point. Well, what about inspirational? He's like, when's the last time Martin Luther King inspired anybody to do anything?
Right. Wow.
He said, when's the last time somebody was inspired to do some things that they really were supposed to do?
Right.
Inspiration is fake too.
Wow.
I said, well, dang. Last thing I could say is, he's like, no, you transform. Right? What you do is ask people, what you do is put things in front of them that makes them ask different questions of themselves that causes them to possibly take a different journey if they find that answer. Right? And so we want to transform people by asking the right questions, by making them ask themselves the right questions. I want to transform people. I don't want to motivate you, and I definitely don't want to inspire you because I ain't all that.
Right.
Right? And the glory don't go to me anyway. So I don't even want to be your inspiration. For real. But I definitely want to help you transform. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if I do that, shoot, I like to say that you can't lead a horse to water.
True.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But it's my responsibility to create a painting that is so beautiful that it makes you curious.
Yeah.
And that's what
rich.
I do. All right.
Rich.
And so, with the most impactful, I have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, is the prison. The most, to have killers, right? People that have done violent crimes, attitude span of nothing. You know what I'm saying? That I was talked to like, yo, these guys will rip you apart. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they even get a smell that you come in here lying, playing like you don't know, like, they gonna ask you questions.
Right.
And then after those questions, they're asking you very, very, very detailed questions because they ain't got nowhere to go.
Right.
So if you got some things that you can do, all we got is time. I want to do that.
Right.
So if you ain't got that, they're not playing with you at all.
Right.
All right. And so to be received after being taken to that extreme, right? Because I've never had, when you speak places and all that, you always leave it open for question, but rarely do people ask questions because, life don't be life and bad enough for you to be hungry enough to ask those questions. But people in prison, they're hungry enough. They're like, no. When we gonna see you again? 2 weeks? Oh no, I got questions right now because Something could happen to me
right.
in 2 weeks.
I
I don't know. I might not even have
Exactly.
access or be free
Wow.
in 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
let me ask you what I really need to know, because I'm battling some stuff, and I might get attacked with it as soon as I leave this room. I
Right.
need to know right now what
they
you
trying
need.
to move it from there.
Yes.
So they got it right here.
Yes.
They trying to I'm trying to see.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
all right.
real.
So afterwards, to be around those type of men and for them to wait, to embrace you, to show love, for the CEOs to be like, no, y'all can, that's cool, and for them to embrace me like, bro, please come back.
Yeah.
I got so many other things I want to ask you. I got some other dudes that need to come and listen to this. That's top. That and homeless. It's not kids. It's not. No, I'm talking about adults.
Right.
Like everybody be thinking that I'm just talking to the kids. No, the kids actually, it takes longer for it to grow because it's a seed, and so they got to go through some other stuff.
Right.
A lot of adults,
They've
right?
been through it.
They've been through it. So when they hear the truth, it's like, oh no. That's different, right?
It's ready.
Yeah, so I understand. There was a quote that said, "It's easier to teach a child than a grown broken."
And so to fix a child, or to raise a child and fix a broken adult.
Yeah. And so it's just like, I get that, but we in a totally different time now. I think that is expired. You got so much access to knowledge now that I don't think that's true. And so, I just believe with those type of people that are in those type of extreme situations, they ready, like really ready.
Right.
And so I've had sessions with homeless people where it's like 12 to 15 in a class for 8 weeks. And these are the ones that have shown signs of being ready to get out of this situation, and having them for 8 weeks and having a guy that was homeless, then doing what was necessary and being able to knock on his front door, top tier. I've had that experience.
Powerful.
And so the prison and seeing the change in the homeless person, instead of giving him some socks, jacket, food for a day, but actually giving him the game that he needs to become who he said he wants to be, that was the best.
Yeah, Rich.
For sure.
Rich, we got about 6 and some change left, right? I want to leave you with this thought and this question. What is transformation, and how is it undergone? What have you found? Right? What is your formula? So this is something that is straight from the heart and the mind of Dr. Harvey. I don't want well, according to the definition.
No.
Like, what have you seen?
I hate people that do that. It bothers me so much. Like, I never want to do that. Like, you're talking over my head now. I don't understand what you're saying. Well, transformation, the definition of transformation. See, I don't do that. Because transformation ain't easy. And for a lot of people, transformation comes after a catastrophic event. You know what I'm saying? When God has tried to show you the play several times and you've chosen to negate it, and then he has to force it upon you, right? And so I kind of realized early on, by seeing it happen to other people, that I knew my catastrophic moment was coming. I knew that, right? And so I had to have a real honest commitment with myself. You can't even transform if you're not willing to have a conversation with yourself that is so honest that it could break your heart, that you possibly need to break your heart, like to kill the ego, to shatter every bit of you, because you know what you've done. So there's no way we can even transform unless we have that conversation. We cannot prolong that conversation. That has to be one of the first things we do, is be absolute. I'm talking so honest to where you are crying. Like, I can remember, like it was yesterday, the conversation that I had with myself, that I'm literally telling myself, like, yo, we've been ignoring the way we move. You've been manipulative, conniving. You've been a liar. You've been manipulative. You've been a womanizer. Anything you can name, a liar, deceiver, heartbreaker, all those things, anything you can name. If somebody said during that time, I would say, yes, I was absolutely that. And you have to own that. Like, I'm talking, eat it like you starving. You have to eat on the things that you've done, like you're starving for change. Because it is the only way, bro. It is the only way for you to actually be even in the room to be able to transform. Because even after that, you still got to be willing to face the things that you chose to neglect in doing said things. You have to face the byproducts of that. And now you're dealing with demons. Now you're dealing with vices. Now you're dealing with attitude. Now you're dealing with the way you communicate, you show up. Right? Like you're having to, and knowing when you make that mistake, that is directly connected to how long you chose to neglect doing this. You have to do it. And I'm talking even when it don't feel good. I'm talking every day until it becomes a habit. Then after a habit, you still have to do it long enough to where you ain't even got to think about it no more. Where you don't transform until it becomes second nature. And it's a process. That is a process. Yeah, and it's like asking God for patience, knowing that He's going to send you something that irritates you. And it ain't gonna be something you're prepared to be patient with. Nah, He gonna send you something that's your last nerve. That's where we gonna work on your patience. We ain't gonna work on it with the. Come on.
You gonna walk into that?
Yeah.
Walk up
Yeah,
like
come
that?
on. No. We gonna give you something that you like, nah, I ain't. If somebody did that to me, oh man, I'll kill him. That's what He gonna send to you.
Yeah.
Now we gonna see if you really want to be patient. Now do the work, right? So it's never gonna be something that don't have a ton of weight to it. It's never gonna not be like that. When it's time to transform, it has to be that. I watched a guy that I know named Wesley Hamilton, super amazing dude, paralyzed from the waist down, got shot. To transform your life, it takes a concerted, committed.
And to confront his shooter?
You know who prepared him for that? No doubt. I say all this work it would all be in vain if you're not willing to say thank you to Him, because you would not be who you are without Him.
Wow.
You have to.
Wow.
We didn't know it was going to be on Netflix, but you had to.
On top of it, bro.
You had to. And of course, why not?
Wow.
You have to show that it's really you. When it's time for you to step away from it, you have to totally step away from it. And if you put in front of the world, you have to step away. That's the only way you transform, dog. It's the only way.
Face your demons. Man,
It's the only way.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
This
Likewise.
is
Likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Wow. So what's coming up next? What you got next coming up?
I have a speaking engagement with a international speaker by the name of William King Hollis. Mm-hmm. That's on August 14th or 11th, my bad.
Okay.
And then I'll be in St. Louis in September.
Okay.
We got a couple other ones we trying to build. I just did a sports camp over the weekend.
Okay.
With a couple NFL and NBA players.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. That was a pretty dope experience.
What about July 13th? What you got on July 13th?
Oh yeah. We got the Elevated Men's conference that I'll be speaking at, man. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
Cause it's a lot of my dogs on there. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah. My dog AL putting that on with Elevated Men's Group.
Okay.
So that should be really, really exciting.
Right.
I got some gems to pour in that I ain't said yet in front of nobody. So I'm super excited.
Been in the lab,
Yeah. Super excited. I treat it like a comedian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where if I learn my set the way I need to, I don't have to create new sets until I'm ready to create a new show.
Wow.
I just redo the set, Bro, I practice. I study comedians.
They be on it, bro.
That's one of my gems.
Yeah.
I study comedians.
Wow.
When we talking about storytelling and the way you can give animation, because I need you to laugh. I need all of that. I don't want to just be like
right.
I need to pull every part part are you in? So I study comedians, dog. That's something I don't tell nobody about.
Your story about Orlando.
Come on, man.
At the conference.
Come on.
Was right. That was so right, bro.
Come on.
That was
Come
right.
on. And so I take those moments and try to see where I can have some comedic relief.
Yeah.
Where I can add some seriousness, where I can connect purpose, spirit, and all of that within the story and relate to it. Where, dang.
Yeah. I know what that's like.
I know what that's like.
Jeans?
I ain't giving up. But then I can think about, oh my God, what in my life do I need to unpack in order for me to go where I'm trying to go? So there's so many layers to it that you can dig into. And if I put a laughter or make you laugh in it, I'm actually just getting your spirit to accept it and bring it into you.
That's rich, bro. You was like, what'd you say about elevation? That there is
everything that elevates has a weight limit. Mm-hmm.
Good night.
Yes. See, but this is how much I have to regurgitate the information to know it right on hand, because it would be ill of me to say that I know what I'm talking about if you can't say that, and I can't regurgitate it immediately as soon as you say it.
Original thought, bro.
That's what it is.
Original thought.
Absolutely. So
that
only comes from doing the work.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Thank you again, brother.
Yes, sir.
This is Shifting Paradigms. I'm your host, B. Michael. We're here at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center with KUAW Radio, which is brought to you by the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. Check out my man, Dr. Ryan Harvey. If you're a brother, July 13th.
Come out.
Pastor Michael Brooks Church. I forgot the name of the church.
Oh my gosh.
I can go to Facebook and find it. But just go on Facebook and you'll find
Blue Valley Parkway,
Elevating Men. It's in Raytown. It's in Raytown. I know it's in Raytown.
Okay.
I forgot the name
I
of the
wish
church.
we had the flyer right now. We could have
put it up
there.
And also associated with Elevating Men, Brother A.L. Johnson is having a play that is taking place this month at Just Off Broadway Theater, dealing with competition in the church. So if you get a chance to Booker T. Fletcher, I believe, is the stage, the playwright's name. So it's going to be Just Off Broadway Theater a few days. So if you get a chance, check that out as well. I told my brother I promoted. I haven't had a chance to get Baba G the audio commercial, but I'm gonna plug it in as well. And so I'll get it to you. You can just run that until the play starts. And so, this is B. Michael here with Shifting Paradigms. I want to thank all my listeners. I'm getting all loud and stuff, tuning in. Yeah. Much love to Dr. Harvey once again. Much love to my viewers and listeners. Thank you for your comments. My wife was like plugging in all that. So, definitely got her ear going. So that's good, man. We'll have some good conversation tonight.
For sure.
But thank you all once again. B. Michael signing off. Peace and power. Shalom, shalom.
Peace.